Hello, everyone. My name is SharRon Jamison, and I hope you can join me and I guess Vikki Johnson. Hi, Paula. Vikki Johnson and I are going to have a conversation about sisterhood. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Mr. Frazier. Sister Soul Wealth, Shedding the Shoulds, Society Shoulds, and Sisterhood. So I'm waiting for Vikki to come on. Let me see, where's Vikki? Hey there, Arise Beautiful. Now, where's Vikki? She's going to be joining me. Trying to see if she's coming on. I don't see her coming. Just a moment, as she is going to be joining me, and I'm so excited to go live with her. Where is Vikki? Hello, foodie. I'm a fun foodie. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm waiting for Vikki Johnson to join me, and I am. Let me see. How can I don't see her popping in. Vikki, where are you? I don't see her. Okay. Where is she? Vikki, let me see. There she is. Hey, Vikki, I'm trying to bring you on. There you are. You should be coming on. Waiting for Vikki. Hey, Vikki, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing so well. I'm so glad that you are here, and I hope other people can join us. I wanted just to touch base with you and talk to you about, since when you think about everything that's happening in the world with this pandemic and COVID and the loss of John Lewis, etc., so many changes in this world. It makes me think about the importance of soul wealth, because
Yeah.
without having the wealth of your soul, which I call the spiritual infrastructure, all of these changes and all of this unpredictability will toss you through, from side to side versus being grounded.
Yeah.
So I know that soul wealth is something that is really important. It's your brand, it's your mission, it's your movement. When you think about everything that's happening in the world, how important, or why is it so important for people to understand that the wealth of their lives really resides in their soul?
Because everything else is temporary. It fades. The reality of life is that everything must change, right? However, if we are not anchored in our spirit, in our soul, which is the seat of our emotions, then we have a tendency to be unstable, right? We get tossed to and fro based on the circumstances of the day. So having your soul in a place of stability and what I like to call undisturbed composure or inner peace allows you to process what's happening in the world without absorbing what's happening in the world.
Ah, that's powerful.
Yeah,
Observation without absorption.
absolutely. Because when we take it in, SharRon, what's happening is we're taking it in, but we're not processing what we're taking in. So a lot of, nobody or not many people expected the world to be in the state that it's in right now. Okay, so this started like February, March. No, it started January.
Yes.
Like 2020 started rocking everybody's life in January. First with Kobe Bryant
Yes.
and his daughter and the other souls that were lost in the helicopter crash, right? Then you fast forward, here comes COVID. Then in the midst of COVID, here comes George Floyd's death. And then Breonna Taylor. And then, Ahmaud Arbery. And then Elijah McClain. His case comes back to light, which really re-traumatizes us because we've not healed from Trayvon Martin. We've not healed, from Eric Garner. And so the integration of all of that trauma has particularly Black and brown people in a collective state of PTSD. So instead of going from moment to moment with a sense of awareness and peace and calm and tools to practice restoration, whether that's counseling with a spiritual advisor or therapy with a psychotherapist or exercise. I got on my God is dope hat because I've been swimming every day. So I get in the water. I love the water, but I'm also moving my body. I'm also meditating. I'm in the sun, so I'm getting vitamin D. I am taking in, minerals from sea moss to ginger to turmeric to, green leafy vegetables, drinking a lot of water because I am aware that my practice of undisturbed composure comes from my self-care, my practice of self-care. Like that's a non-negotiable. And I'm still working. So I'm teleworking while doing soul wealth, while serving women, while working on some family projects, while supporting family, while being in a beautiful relationship, while supporting girlfriends, while rebranding. Like all life doesn't stop. So what I've started doing is going from moment to moment. I don't live from day to day. I'm not thinking about next week in terms of my emotional self, in terms of my spiritual self. I am practicing very much so intentionally present moment awareness. I'm being fully present in every moment. Watch this. First, for myself.
Yes.
And what we have had tendencies to do is get busy so that we don't feel anything. The reality is what you don't feel, you can't heal.
Absolutely. And that numbing, and it's interesting, I think that people can identify numbing when they're overeating or when they're
Yeah.
drinking or when they're shopping or when they're doing something that society says is bad to do. But I realize people don't sometimes recognize that they're numbing when they're being busy because they are being productive. But you're being productive externally, but you're becoming more impoverished and atrophied spiritually. And I think learning how to stay still and be still without guilt in a culture that equates busyness with worth is difficult. And so I really appreciate your understanding about that, having a place where which is what do you call it, disrupted
Undisturbed composure.
understood. I love that, undisturbed
Yeah.
composure, and that's a place to be. It's something you said too. I would love us to really talk about is the absence of tools, and I think that is so critical that we talk about, is because even though we, you and I are healers and parents and business owners and jobs, hey Nisi, and ministers, I still have to say that even as a minister, one of the ways that people have used church as an opioid versus as a place of healing. So
Absolutely.
we shout over our pain, we pray over
Yep.
our pain, we fall out our pain.
Yep.
We don't talk about our pain. We don't
Right.
process our pain. We don't journal
Right.
about our pain. So right now, since there's no church building, we are the church, but there's no church building. Hey, Darren, what are your thoughts about how, since there's no church physical building, what are you telling your clients and people that you've ministered to? How are you telling them to activate those tools? We all have them. We might not aware that we all have them because we all are God. God works through us and God operates as us. So we have the tools. So what type of guidance are you giving those people when they come to you about how to find that place of being anchored in the midst of all these challenges that are happening? Holly, Brenda,
Well,
thanks.
I ask questions, right? I ask questions first. What do you believe? Because when you're among the crowd, you don't necessarily have to defend what you believe. You don't necessarily have to know what you believe, because a lot of us heretofore, prior to this time, we've gone to church out of habit.
Absolutely.
We've gathered together in the worship experience because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
What this climate has taught us is, do I have faith? Do I really believe God?
Mm-hmm.
Where is my faith? Where is God? How am I supposed to get through this moment? What is my practice of faith? Because practicing my faith is more than reading the Bible every day.
Absolutely.
Right? It's more than, I'm going to say this, it's more than prayer calls every day.
Absolutely.
It's more than Bible study every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than online church every Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you come together. Those are simply tools of your faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith is what you do when you don't understand. Faith is what you live out when you're quarantined.
Absolutely.
And laid off or furloughed.
Right. That is so true.
Not knowing where your next thing is coming from, or knowing where your next thing is coming from, but disconnected from your relationships. Maybe you're single.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't have a lot of friends. So who keeps you company when being around people is what you use to numb yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So I ask a lot of questions, SharRon, because we are in year 2020 getting clarity like none of us expected, but getting clarity nonetheless.
Absolutely. And
some things are being magnified, some things are being made clear.
yes.
And I encourage in the most loving way women that I support to explore that clarity
Mm-hmm.
from a place of love
Mm-hmm.
and not from a place of shame, guilt, judgment, or self-condemnation.
Mm-hmm. And that's hard
Because this is the truth, SharRon. Everyone, if you are not taking care of your soul,
mm-hmm.
every single person who is ignoring their soul
Mm-hmm.
and the well-being of their emotions, their mind, their spirit, eventually they will crash.
Yeah. And I don't know about you. I'm seeing crashing. And I think that's normal. Unfortunately, under the circumstances, I think one of the things that I love everything you're saying. Something that's really been I've been really pushing people to do. Hey, Petra, is to challenge their paradigms. I think that we have these paradigms of what life should look like, what God should look like, what our relationship in God should look like. And I think we have so many, hi Shelly, so many paradigms that our paradigms poison our ability to see God or to see how we can function at a higher level or at a different level. And I know that one of the factors I'm really working with many of my clients are on is to understand the difference between alone and lonely. They're very different things. Alone is when Lonely is when I have abandoned myself and I have betrayed myself, so I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Alone means that I am choosing this time or taking advantage of this sacred time to get to know myself in ways that I've never known myself before. The problem is that we have to really be clear with our clients to say lonely and loneliness is not the same thing. And on this journey that we're on, to understand that difference will give you power because it will let you know that you're not dependent. Now you're interdependent, but you're not dependent. And so I think it's so clear for me as I'm talking to people to help tease out the difference. And because I think you can, one of the loneliest things is when you betray your soul. That's lonely. It's nothing lonelier than living a lie. It is nothing lonelier than being an imposter or a clone. That is lonely. And I tell people I'd rather be by myself and be alone than to be with you and be lonely. Yeah. And so I think this period is helping people understand the difference between alone. And so the work that you're talking about is something that is so critical, and also understand the distinction between alone and lonely. What are you saying? Because I wanted to also talk a little bit about, we talked about soul wealth. One of the things, hey Jay, that I'm talking a lot about in this pregnant pause, this pandemic, is shedding the shoulds. I think something you just said is that we have been living with so much guilt and judgment and condemnation that we cannot live from a place of wonderment. To me, I think that is the most highest place is wonder. God, I wonder. Surprise me, God, right? This place of wonderment. And we are living in these shoulds. Hey there, Gangsta Spirit. Hey, Crystal. So what are your thoughts about the importance of abandoning all these social constructs that are confining us in places and with people that don't support us? What are your thoughts about shedding the shoulds and getting away from social mandates so you can really do your divine mission? What are your thoughts about that? Hey, Roz.
My thoughts are that one of the practices, I'll share what I'm doing as a way of sharing my thoughts. So like I said earlier, I am actively doing multiple things right now. My job is demanding. I'm grateful for it. That's not a complaint. I have grace for it. I'm doing several online engagements, speaking, supporting the women that I mentor, managing a family project. Like, there's a lot that I'm doing by God's grace. And in light of shedding the shoulds, what I've begun doing, SharRon, is asking myself, what do I need in this moment?
Yes. For such a time.
Vikki, what do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need, Vikki? And that's especially critical when you are the person that everybody comes to. And because I mentor other leaders, I mentor other mentors who are leading and mentoring other women. I stress the importance of self-care, self-love, self-awareness, self-confidence, self-worth, and self-efficacy. What do I need in this moment? So today, in the middle of doing some work for work, I saw how I was like, I need to go out in the sun, let this all natural free vitamin D just kiss me, and I need to move my body. But it was so hot. It was almost 100 degrees here today. So sometimes, I'll go walking on a trail, but it was too hot. It's like, I need the water. I need to go swimming at lunchtime. That's what I did. I stopped what I was doing, went to the pool, swam some laps, got on a float, fell asleep for about 15 minutes, got a power nap while the sun was just beating down on me, nourishing me. And then I got out, got some water, and came back to work.
Yes.
So that's a practical example of how we can eliminate the shoulds. Not what should I do right now. The question is, what do I need right now? I may need to turn off the television. I may need to turn off the ringer on my phone and take a shower and go get in the bed. I may need to stretch. I may need to do some yoga. I may need to pick up the phone and call someone that I enjoy talking to who pours into me. I may want a piece of chocolate cake. I don't know. I may want to laugh. I may want to look at a movie. So I have eliminated as much as possible what I should be doing and live in what I need in that moment so that I can remain in overflow.
Yes.
Because when I get into should, when I get into obligatory behavior or choices, now I'm tapping into my capacity, what I have for me. And so the key here is to know when to pivot.
Yeah.
Just know when to pivot. No day is the same.
Yes.
And I have to leave room for divine pivots.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
I can't be so scheduled out or so busy or so full or so regimented.
Yes.
Like we did tonight. That was a divine pivot. I felt the nudge. Let me just reach out to you.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Right? So you have to leave room to be able to make those kinds of moves. Otherwise, you feel pressured into showing up when you really should be powering down. Absolutely. So that you can be rejuvenated, so that you can be refueled, so that you can be restored. And no one can tell you what that is for you.
Absolutely.
Only you know what that is for you.
Yeah. And that might change day by day. And it's so interesting. I love what you said. Two things I would add to your list. I love your list. Two things I'm asking myself is not only what do I need, what do I desire? I think so often we do what we need, but we won't embrace pleasure. And we feel guilty for having pleasure when the world is in its uproar. I hear a lot of people say, well, it's not right that I have pleasure. I'm thinking pleasure is a form of relief. It's a form of restoration. And if we cannot tap into our pleasure, we're going to sometimes forget that we have grace and we're still blessed. Even in the mess, we're still blessed.
Yeah.
So I'm asking people and asking myself, hey, Anthony, how can we enjoy pleasure? What do you desire? What are your desires? What would make you happy? What would make your heart sing? Even if it sounds crazy to someone else, right?
Yeah.
Something else that I'm asking my clients and myself is not to have decision fatigue. I think right now, the fewer decisions we can make, the better. Right?
Yeah.
To me, everybody always asks me, why do I wear black? Because I know what I'm going to wear every single day. You know what I'm saying? Every single day. What is SharRon going to wear? Some black shirt, black things. How long have you known me? Some black pants. How long have you known me?
Yeah.
What I'm going to wear? Big earrings in the necklace. I have to make no decisions. That's why you can look. I got 40 pair of black pants. I don't have decisions decision because I feel that I want my decisions that I have to make to be high quality decisions. And I don't want to waste my capacity on what you're going to eat. I eat the same thing every day. Because I don't want to have decision fatigue, especially now when so much is being demanded of me, because it's harder to make decisions in the midst of uncertainty. So just like you said, moment by moment, if I'm making decisions moment by moment, I want to make sure that they're high quality decisions, and it doesn't need to be what I need to wear. Really, because I'm only getting dressed up from the waist up these days anyway. I have on my jackets from the waist down. So desire and decision fatigue. And so when we move from soul wealth, the infrastructure that is so important. I know it's your brand, your mission, your movement that you do so wonderfully. That's why I absolutely love you.
Thank you.
We talk about shooting. My whole platform now, I'm changing to let's shed the shoulds. How not to live a shouldy life, right? That's what and the thing is, I think what's helping me,
or a shitty one.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, don't live a shitty one or a shitty one, right? Thank you, sis. I'm gonna go with you. You let me, I'm gonna go with you.
Oh gosh,
that is so important right now that you do for me, Vikki, is sisterhood. And it's funny. I think that as leaders and visionaries, it's hard for people to know how to friend us. First, I'm an introvert. You're an introvert. People don't know that because we're doing this. Don't get it twisted. I'm an introvert. And also, I think we're both empaths. I feel things deeply. So sometimes people want to friend me, but I don't have room for shallow conversations because God has me so deep sometimes. I'm like, don't touch me. I don't want the thought. But sometimes when I have to do deep spiritual work, I don't have capacity for people. Not that I don't love people. And so it's hard to find people like you that understand how to be in that moment. Thanks so much for joining us. Hello, world. So tell us a little bit about sisterhood to you and why sisterhood is so important. Hi, Lorena. Thanks so much for joining us. Why is sisterhood or sistership, Vikki's word, sistership, is so important, and how to find people for such a time as this, because we need different people at different seasons in our lives. So I want to hear your list, and then I'll show you my list. How are you discerning, I guess is the right word, for who you need in this time of civil unrest and the shifting, the global shifting that's happening? How are you choosing your people?
I'm not.
Say more, please. Say more.
I'm not choosing them. They're showing up as God ordains and God allows. Remember, I said earlier, you have to make room. You have to leave room for God to guide your divine pivots. You have to leave room for that so that you can shift at a moment's notice. When you're so rigid and dogmatic, there's no room for miracles, right? So we have to make room. We have to leave room for miracles. And I said earlier, no day is the same for me. That's not a cliche. It is literal. I attended virtually 2 funerals this week of mothers of people who are dear to me, right? In the midst of everything else that I talked about doing. So for me, it really is a conversation with God every morning. You know, I did an interview on the Real Rebel podcast. Katie B, I love her.
It was so good. I heard it too. Let me tell you.
She asked me, thank you. She asked me, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? What's the first thing you do? And there's a clip that's on my IG feed, and I have it on my YouTube channel. You know, all things Vikki Johnson, my new YouTube channel. Please subscribe.
Yes.
I said that I wake up and I just lay there. I do. That's a practice because I'm laying there getting a download for my day. And every day without fail during this time since the quarantine has started, someone will cross my mind. I'll have the thought, and I might pray for them. I might call them. I might send them a text. Hey, you're on my mind. I want you to know you're on my mind. And every single time I get the reply, God, I needed that. Oh, your timing is impeccable, but it's not my timing. It is the timing of God, because I have made room for God to give me an assignment, and I've made room to be able to carry that out. I practice and have practiced all my life, SharRon, making sure the people that I am in relationship with know that I love them. It's not just words. So I don't talk to anyone every day. As you said, I'm an introvert. That's real. I enjoy my own company. But I have solid relationships with people. And I invest in those relationships. And I have equity in my relationships. And because of that, when I reach out to people, or when I connect with people, or when I'm talking to people, it's like no time has passed, because I practice loving the people that I love. So I'm not seeking anyone. I will be 55 in December. I don't get up and get on a mic and say, well, I don't need new friends. That's not what I say. I'm not desperate for friendship. I am open to divine connections and relationships, but I'm not looking for new friends. Now, should God allow my path and someone else's path to intersect, and there is synergy, and there is connection, and there is purpose, and there is intent behind that, I am open to that. So that's why I answered the question when you said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I'm just allowing what is to be. That's how I maintain my peace.
I have to say that I have been on the receiving end of when you send me I love you, sister, like you put your star or whatever. And I've received texts from you when I needed it most. And then I always say, like, how did you know that? Because like, how did so you have been that person, one of those people for me. Because it's hard to be vulnerable when you are the one that people come to. I think you and I play a similar role in the world, and it's a blessing, but sometimes it's heavy.
It can be a burden too.
Yeah,
it can be a burden too. So it's important to also stay connected to who fills us up.
Yeah.
So I frequently talk about, some of my mentors, my spiritual father, Archbishop Ralph Dennis, my pastors, Bishop Greg and Tanya Dennis, and then I have some other women who pour into me, who I am accountable to, and who I stand shoulder to shoulder with. So relationship is also a self-care tool for me.
I feel like one of the ways that we support ourselves is through our relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that relationships are resources. I would say one of the things I'm doing, similar to your list, that is really hard for me, I am allowing my definitions of friends to expand. And being more flexible in what a friendship needs to look like for me for such a time as this. I tend to be very introverted. And also, I grew up in the church. My father's a minister. So I had that part of hiding, because nothing will teach you how to hide versus being a PK.
Yeah.
I learned how to, whatever happens in the house, stay in the house, even though the house is on fire, And so I am allowing myself to allow the relationships to stretch out, which means that I'm stretching out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I try not to fight it. Well, you know me. You've been in my life for a long time. I'm like, but I know
that I wanted. So I'm trying to learn how to be a different type of friend, and allow people to love me with who I am. Because I usually have my minister friends, then my business friends, then my work friends, then my work, and I still have all of that. But now I'm saying, God, I want someone who can handle at least most of me. Because I'm like this. I like depth because I'm a deep thinker. I need someone to be in those deep places with me. If you can, right?
Right.
And no, and here's the second thing, with a spirit of confidentiality. Let me just say that first, right? And because that's very important to me. Because to me, I feel, I don't believe the people closest to me, hi Michelle, are not just convenient friends, they're covenant friends. I like to be in covenant with people. And to me, that's a higher calling. So I have to ask who's called to be my friend. And so right now I'm trying to be still, but I know I have to open up. And can I tell you, Vikki, it's hard. And you know me, and it's just hard. And I don't know. This has been a growth area because I had to rely on other people. Because God told me to. I'm like, well, look at here. So, but I'm trying, and so that's what I'm doing. But thanks so much for just coming on.
You're welcome.
I wanted to talk about the soul wealth. I think now people need that internal infrastructure more than anything before, to be internally fortified and know that the wealth is in their soul. It's not external. It's not transcendental. It's right there in your soul. For people to understand, this is the time to, hey, Michelle, to throw all the shits away. Because we haven't been here before, and we'll never be here again. And this is the time to reevaluate. Because when this is over, hopefully you're different too. Not you. I mean, people are different. I know I want to.
Yes.
And then the sisterhood. I think that nobody does the word alone. Something that I've heard you say, and Yana say too. Nobody can be their best self by themselves. And I know you have said that, or other people say that. And sisterhood is important, but sacred sisterhood is important. And I think sometimes we just pick people who are available versus people who are suitable. And you have to pray. You have to pray. God, is this person right for me for this season? Because maybe you are okay, but your season expired. And that's okay. And sometimes you get dropped. And I'm okay getting dropped and dropping people, but not dropping in a bad way. But I know that to hold on is detrimental to both of us. Something that I love, you said, is like let go or you get dragged, or something you said. I love how you say that, let go, or what is it?
Or be dragged.
Yeah.
Or be dragged.
That's a Vikkiism. That should be in your book. So anyway, Vikki, what do you have up coming up before I leave? And I want you to share what you have coming up, and I'll share what I have coming up. What do you have coming up? Because people need to connect with Vikki Johnson.
Get my book. Get my Soul Wealth book. Soul Wealth, Finding Vision, Compassion, Authenticity, Abundance, and Legacy in the Midst of Chaos. That book took me about 3.5 years to write.
And I have it. I'm looking for it because I'm reading it in my stack over here. I keep moving.
And it's for now. It's for now. I did not know that when I was writing it, but God did. So you can get my book on my website, VikkiJohnson.com. That's VIKKI. Johnson.com. Follow me on YouTube. All Things Vikki Johnson. And then I'm everywhere else at All Things Vikki. And it's VIKKI. So just taking life as it comes, being intentional about some things, and leaving room for miracles every day.
Because miracles always happen in the margins.
Listen.
I want people to look under the
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I want them to get counterfeit love. And let me just tell you why. I've been doing a lot of marriage counseling. And people have been sitting down and realizing they have not been in love, they've been in lust. And they've been married. Or they have been in the same house, but not in the same emotional home. And so I think your book is amazing.
Thank you.
Love, and I recommend people to that book. So since people have time and they're doing some reevaluation, anything you write, anything you say is powerful, right? So
Thank you,
I would
SharRon.
encourage people to do that. I would encourage, if people want to connect with me, YouTube, everything is SharRon Jamison. I have a book coming out. I would say I ain't gonna say when, because that book is already overdue. So let me be quiet on that. Don't know, because I'm just not feeling like I want to edit like I should. So I'm just gonna, because this time is this. I'm giving myself grace. But I have a class coming up if people are interested in that, called Unshackled. It's all about how not to live a shooty life, and
Nice.
to talk about, to really challenge the desires and dreams and things like that. So I tell people, get connected with you, because when I think about people that I connect with when I need support, one of those people is you. So I
Thank
want
you,
people to
SharRon.
feel, yes, it's the truth. Well, thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
spending time with me, and
You're
people connect
welcome.
with
Thank
us.
you for
All things
asking me to do
Vikki.
this.
Yes. Hi,
Thank you.
Dr. Kanisha. Thanks so much for joining us. So all things Vikki, Vikki YouTube, so
All
well.
things Vikki Johnson on YouTube.
Okay, all things Vikki Johnson. I'm sorry, SharRon Jamison, everywhere, and Unshackled, and let's stay connected.
Awesome. I love you,
I
SharRon.
love you. Thanks so much, Mom. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.